Hello, welcome to today's Here's to Your Health podcast. I'm Don Lentzman, your host. My guest on the podcast today is Erin Muck. Erin is the president and CEO of CCMH. And Erin, thank you for joining me today.
Well, thank you. Pretty soon people are going to get sick of talking to me or listening to me talk.
This is twice in 3 weeks. But we've got a lot of things going on. So last time we talked about OB. And even at that time, I thought maybe we could spend a couple of minutes talking about the building project. But you know, one thing at a time, right?
Yep.
So today we're going to circle back and we're going to talk about the building project that we have coming up that will be starting very, very, very shortly. But first of all, I want to talk a little bit about the financing end of this because there have been some questions that people have asked about it. And
Sure.
So maybe we start right there at the beginning and then we'll talk about some of the other things that are going to happen because of construction.
Sure. So when we went through this master facility planning and knew that we needed to do a building project to better serve our community and customers, we went out and we secured a USDA loan with a amazing interest rate. Our timing was impeccable. It was before the interest rate started coming up, and so our interest rate is only 2.5%, which right now I think it's at 4%. So that is a lot of interest that we're not going to be paying that we could have had we waited. So we're super excited about that. We do have to kick in some of our own cash for this, which we have been saving, knowing that we were going to be doing a building project along with our electronic medical record. And so comfortably, we will be kicking in $3 million for this project. I do think that people get a little bit confused about, there are property taxes that come towards the hospital. I think people just need to be aware that only 5% of our revenues come from property taxes. And really, we cannot use property taxes for building projects. We just can't. That has to come. We need to have that come out of operations. And what we use the property taxes for it's very limited. We're very restricted on how we can use that. What we do use it for is for our ambulance service. It supplements what we're doing. If you, ambulance services, there's not good pay for that. And so after paying staff and equipment and all of that, we do have to supplement it at least $600,000 to $700,000 a year just to break even. And so we use it for the ambulance service, but we also use it for benefits. As you know, we are a governmental entity, and so we have IPERs, similar to the school and county and city employees. And so it's an added expense. We also can use it for malpractice insurance and other employee benefits as well. And so that is what we mainly use it for, is the ambulance and our employee benefits. And so we are not using any tax money for the building project. So your taxes should not go up for the building project. That should not happen.
And I think that's an excellent observation, and it's a great interpretation of exactly what's going on. The other part of it, though, Erin, is that people say, well, if you're not going to use taxes to pay for this, then how does this work? And I think I'm going to prime the pump here a little bit by talking about the difference between inpatient and outpatient. People still are stuck in the concept that inpatient is where most of our funds are derived, but the fact of the matter is that both government and private insurers don't want people staying in the hospital anymore. So our inpatient revenue 15 years ago was about 90% of all the revenue that we had, but today it's only 10.
Correct.
Now today our outpatient revenue is what's really driving the bus on this thing economically. And so what we're looking at is the number of patients that we're now seeing from an outpatient perspective.
Correct. So I remember even being a newer nurse, and it was like families could bring their loved ones and kind of just drop them off for the weekend because they were going out of town, and it was almost like respite care, but insurance companies would pay for it back then. But it's very expensive. Inpatient care is expensive, and so they really focus on outpatient and keeping patients in the outpatient world, and because it's less expensive. And so 90% of our volumes are in the outpatient world, and Yeah, and that's what you're going to see, and it's going to continue to get worse over time.
Yeah, and because of all the outpatient traffic, our clinic traffic has almost tripled over the last 10 years or so. I mean, we're seeing a lot more patients now than we were when the hospital was originally built back in 2011.
Yeah, I mean, clinic volumes alone have more than doubled since we moved into our newer building. I mean, it's still new, right? But it's old enough that we have more than doubled our volumes. And so it's really hard to recruit new physicians to the area if I can't show them where I'm going to have them have an office and have exam rooms, because they're all taken.
And I think that's the other part of the discussion here, is that we're in the process of recruiting more providers to come because we have patients that need to be seen.
Correct. I mean, we have a new orthopedist, which we're excited about. We'd like to have another general surgeon. We're bringing in more family medicine. And so doing that, we need the space to be able to have those volumes, especially this building was built for the volumes back in 2011, and now it's 2024, and we're going to be heading into 2025, and we need to do those. We need to accommodate those volumes that we're having. It's great. It's a great problem to have, that we're growing, and where a lot of smaller organizations are not, and they're losing volumes where we're gaining, which is excellent.
You're listening to the Here's to Your Health podcast today. Erin Muck is my guest. Erin is the president and CEO of Crawford County Memorial Hospital. We're talking about the building project that is rapidly approaching. Mm-hmm. And so let's talk about that a little bit, Erin. Within the next week or so, people are really going to start seeing a lot of changes both inside and outside of our building.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest changes that you've probably, our community maybe has seen already, is you see some signage down the hill at our CCMH outpatient services building, which would be the old Dr. Luft building. That's just down our hill. And that is where our rehab services department has temporarily moved for the next 18 months. And so they've been in their new dig since Monday, and that's going really well. So that is probably one of the biggest things that you'll see. But when you walk in our building now, you're going to see a lot of signage. Our interpretive services have moved into our gift shop. Our gift shop's down in our cafeteria at in a kiosk now. But we have a lot of departments that are moving. So our specialty clinic is actually going to move into our same-day services. Same-day services have already moved over into our OB, or what was previously our OB unit. And our rural health clinic has to grow because we're going to be remodeling and adding on to the current space that we have. So they'll be moving into the specialty clinic area. So all of that will actually happen this weekend. We'll all be in our new areas starting Monday, August 5th. And there will be plenty of staff and signage to help you get where you need to go, and we'll assist with that. So rest assured, we'll get you where you need to go, but all of our services will still be open and available to our community, but we're really excited about our expansion project.
And a couple of other things for people to keep in mind. The West Clinic entrance will be closing. That'll be closed on Monday, and everybody will need to use the main entrance. And then parking will also change just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you've been up here recently, you've noticed that in our south parking lot, we've been adding some stalls. We're adding 40 stalls to our south parking lot, and that will be for employees because most of the employee parking will be from the west and the north will be no longer available for our employees. So our main entrance will be the entrance for our patients, and so that north parking lot will all be for patients. And so the west parking lot will no longer be available until probably about February of 25, and then some parking will be available there. So all of that parking and will be in the north main entrance parking lot there. We feel like it should be great. It should work out just fine. We have with rehab services down the hill that a lot of that parking, that has been taken up in the past is now down that hill as well. So we're looking at adding some more handicap stalls, knowing that it's a long walk, and so we want to make sure that people that cannot walk a distance have closer parking.
My guest on the podcast today is Erin Muck. Erin is president and CEO of CCMH. We're talking about the building project that's approaching for the hospital and which will begin in earnest next week. Erin will have some exterior signage that's also going to go up to help people navigate all of that parking and make sure they know which door to come in. But one other thing that I want to talk about today before we end, and that is the groundbreaking that'll be coming up on August 9th.
Yeah, so next Friday, August 9th at noon, we are going to have our groundbreaking ceremony. Dawn's going to tell us where that's going to be located because I'm not even sure. But I'll just go where they tell me. That's what I do here. And so we're going to be having our groundbreaking ceremony. We invite anybody from the community that would like to come in and be a part of that. This is a community project, and it's here to serve our community better and our patients. And so we would love to have you and come see our exciting times.
Pretty sure it's going to be on the west side of the clinic because that's where we're going to be doing most of our expansion. But also want to let people know that the program in and of itself should take about a half an hour, and we'll have several people who will make very short remarks, at least as short as we can convince them to make those. Yeah. And then we'll turn some dirt, and people will have shovels and hard hats and all those other kinds of things. And it'll only take about a half an hour for that ceremony. So if there is anyone who would like to attend, they're certainly welcome to do that, and we'll be doing that west of the clinic, just on the west side of the clinic there. Erin, anything else you want to add before we leave today?
No, this is just, it's been about 3 years coming. We've been working on this for a really long time, so it's super exciting. We just implemented a new electronic medical record, and it's always bumpy to do those things. And so I think this, and it's going well, and we're working through the bumps, but I feel like this is just one of the exciting things that the staff can get excited about. And so we're really excited, and I'm excited that we get to better serve the community.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the best part of the entire project. In fact, all of the things that we're working on. One thing maybe that everybody can do is, if they're going to be a patient here, is to bring their patients with them because, as you noted earlier, it's a longer walk. We have a new electronic medical record. There are several other things going on. Wayfinding is always going to be an issue. We're going to do our dead level best to make sure that everybody gets to where it is that they need to go, and we do it in a timely fashion, but we know that the process is going to be a little different, and it's going to take a while for everybody to get used to that.
Yeah. I mean, I think you might ask, why are you doing so much all at once? But it was timing, and that's just how it worked out, unfortunately. Our electronic medical record, we really wanted to have a more efficient and safer product, and a better patient portal. And so we knew that this needed to happen. The timing all just worked out where it happened kind of similarly all at once. And so I apologize to staff and patients for that, but I think it's going to be great. I think we've got plenty of help for our patients. We have wheelchairs if you can't walk the distances that we need you to. And I think you're going to find that Don and his team have done a really nice job with signage and wayfinding, and I just think it's going to go well. And if it's not going great, we'll pivot and we'll make sure it is. So I'm just excited. I think this is great. This is great for the future of our community. It's awesome to see a lot of organizations putting in money and effort into this community. I mean, you've got the grade school, and you've got the wellness center project, and eventually we'll have the career academy out at Western Iowa Tech with the high school, and this is it's exciting times, and it's a great thing for our community. So I just can't be more pleased.
My guest on the podcast today has been Erin Muck. Erin is president and CEO of Crawford County Memorial Hospital. We've been talking about our rapidly approaching building, remodeling, and construction project that'll be going on. And Erin, thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
I love it. It's exciting to talk about great things.
I'm Don Lintzman, your host for the Here's to Your Health podcast. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.